Hi guys, it's Jess from HonestFiction and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing my February TBR. Alright guys, so February is one of my absolute favorite reading months, and that is because of Fantasy Romance February. So most of the books on this TBR list are fantasy romance. Actually, all of them are fantasy romance except for one, which is contemporary romance. But yeah, I am so excited. There are a few rereads on here. There's a few readathons I'm in, and February is just going to be an awesome month. I can already tell. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish content. You can also check out my Instagram and Goodreads, both linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the books I want to read in February. Alright guys, so I'm going to start off with the books I'll be reading for read-alongs. So these first two books, I'm so excited to read. So I asked over on my Bookstagram if any other booktubers would be interested in rereading the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I figured it was perfect for Fantasy Romance Feb. It is the series that got me into fantasy romance, and I just absolutely love it. So Jess from Peace Love Books, Christy from Christy Reads a Lot, Sam from Sam Reads a Little, April from Happily Ever April, Issa from Fun Fantasy Books, and me will be reading A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury in February, with a live show taking place February 25th at 3 p.m. EST, and I will leave all the information down in the description below. And then we'll be reading A Court of Wings and Ruin and A Court of Frost and Starlight in March. That live show is still TBD, but I will definitely announce it in the community page and on my Instagram once we pick a date. But I just cannot wait to jump back into this world. This is, like I said, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, fantasy romance series. So for those of you who have never read ACOTAR, we are following Farah, and Farah lives in the community that borders the Fae world, and her family really is living in poverty. So one day when she is out hunting, she accidentally kills a Fae, and for payment for doing this, she has to go live with the High Lord of the Spring Court. So this first book is a little bit like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is just so good. So I really hope you guys all come and join us. This is going to be such a fun read-along, and I just cannot wait to jump back into the world of Prythian. And next up is another one of my favorite fantasy romance series. So I will be reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the From Blood and Ash series, which is a paranormal fantasy romance that is just so angsty and so good. So this is part of the read-along, the FBAA read-along, that I am co-hosting with Tori from Novel Life, Issa from Fun Fantasy Books, and then Hannah from Hannah Blackwell. So the live show for this book is taking place on Tori's channel, Novel Life, and it's happening at 3 p.m. on March 4th, I believe, 3 p.m. EST. So I'll leave all the information down in the description below, and you can also find it on my Instagram page, but I cannot wait to read this. I've never reread this one, but I do remember when this book released, I was on vacation with my family, and I remember just like hiding in a corner and reading the entire book in a day. So it should be fun, and I hope you join us. And next up, I'll be reading the last three books in the Vampire Academy. So a bunch of other booktubers and I got together, and we've been rereading or reading for the first time, like me, the Vampire Academy. So I read the first three books in January, and I actually really enjoyed them more than I thought I was going to. So I'm very curious about these last three books. So make sure you guys join us for that live show. I will leave all the information down in the description below and on my Instagram, but it should be really fun. All right, guys, and this next book was actually on my January TBR, but I didn't get to it. And that is Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wisecup. So the audio for this book was released at the end of January, and I am planning on listening to this via audio. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book. I heard it really shows a mother's love. So I'm actually going to read the back of the book, which I don't typically do on my TBRs. But it says, when Emmeline Highclere's daughter, the one prophesied to bring peace to the three kingdoms, is taken by the enemy, she will do anything to get her back. Emmeline has lived the past 16 years in isolation with regret and grief her only companions, but nothing can stop her from finding her daughter and taking revenge on those who would hurt her. So I heard this is really emotional, but it's also an amazing fantasy romance, so I will definitely be reading this very early in February. All right, and these next two books are actually sequels to fantasy romance books that I've been meaning to pick up. So first up we have What Hunts Inside the Shadows, which is the sequel to What Lies Beyond the Veil. So I have a full spoiler-free review of What Lies Beyond the Veil that I will leave in the cards and the description. And if you haven't read that book, it is following Estrella, and she lives in this very patriarchal community where people are sacrificed to keep a veil that protects the humans from the Fey world from rupturing. Unfortunately, our main character is picked to be the lucky sacrifice, but right before she is about to be killed, the veil ruptures, all the Fey come spilling out, and they start marking and hunting humans. So it is Estrella's story, and that first book ended on a very big revelation, so I'm very interested to see how Estrella deals with everything she learned in this book, and this should be really fun, so I cannot wait to read it. And the next sequel is To Snap a Silver Stem. This is the sequel to Bleed a Crystal Bloom. I've had this book on multiple TBRs. I am determined to read it in February. The first book, To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, is following Orlaith. When she is very young, she is found as the only survivor of this very bloody massacre. So the person that finds her takes her back to his isolated castle. His name is Rorden, and all he asks in return for her becoming his ward and him protecting her is a drop of her blood every night. And I was just so obsessed with To Bleed a Crystal Bloom. There is so many secrets and hidden meanings behind things you have to figure out. It's just a very enjoyable book, so I cannot wait to read this. I know it's going to be a 5-star read. And next up we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Everyone seems to be loving this book. I've had so many people recommend I read this book. I actually posted on my Instagram asking friends to recommend me books, and the majority chose this. So I am so intrigued. I don't know very much about this. I believe it's a fantasy romance involving vampires. So Carissa Broadbent is the same author of Daughter of No World, and I think I rated that like high 3.54 stars. There was just, I don't think I was in the right mood to enjoy it. I do plan on going back to that series, but I am just so interested if this book is going to live up to the hype, because like I said, everyone seems to be loving this book right now. All right, and next up is a YA fantasy, and it is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is the same author that wrote the Caraval series, and while I did enjoy that series, I never actually ended up finishing it. So honestly, I had no plans to pick this book up. However, my friend Isa from Fun Fantasy Books said she read the second book in the series, and it might be one of her new favorite YA fantasy romances. She absolutely loved it and was raving about it. So I have to get through this book first. So from what I remember, this book is about a girl that is about to be, or is in love with someone who is in an arranged marriage. So she ends up making a deal with this charismatic guy that he will stop the wedding from taking place, and I think she has to barter like 3 kisses. But it sounds pretty good. She said this book was okay, but the next book is absolutely amazing. So hopefully I will be reading both of them in February. And last up is a romance, and it is June 1st by Jennifer Hartmann. So I have been waiting forever for the audio to release for this book, and it is finally releasing in February. So this is a taboo, forbidden romance. I believe it's step siblings, and I also have heard from a lot of my friends that it is very, very slow burn, but I really enjoy Jennifer Hartmann's writing. Normally her books are very emotional, and I just cannot wait to read this one. I'm so happy the audio is finally coming out, and this is probably going to be a 5-star read. Alright guys, so those are some of the books I plan on reading in February, and I hope you guys will join some of our readathons. Like I said, I will have all of the information down in the description below and over on my Instagram. And yeah, let me know in the comments, what book are you most looking forward to reading in February? And I said this already, I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday, and if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. I will see you all next week, and thank you for watching. Bye!